What's going on? We back with the Boxing Clinic. More. It's your boy CJ Goodfella with another boxing video, of course. And apparently they having a hard time finding people to face Artur Beterbiev. About 3 or 4 contenders have already passed up the opportunity to fight him, including Yerman Berman, who was supposed to face Callum Smith, but pulled out the week before with a cold, and who dominated Robert Brandt at 168. He's a 175-pounder. He passed up on opportunity. You know, and Marcus Brown obviously passed up and chose to go for Kovalev. And also Anthony Yarde passed up the opportunity to face Artur Beterbiev for IBF title. And I think it was a smart move by Team Anthony Yarde. Would he have an opportunity to beat Beterbiev? I think so. I mean, Artur Beterbiev didn't look that hot in his last fight versus the Eric Colling guy, whatever that guy name was. He didn't look that hot. It looked like it was some chinks in his armor that was exposed, but he got the 11 for the 12th round stoppage. And I think people, pretty much, got a little fear of fighting him. Understanding Anthony Yarde is just simply not ready. With no amateur background, going against a guy that got an extensive amateur background for a world championship fight, I think, obviously he's ahead of his date. This was ahead of an opportunity for him that he wasn't ready. I believe Frank Warren did the right thing by passing up the opportunity, but it is a world title shot. But simply, I don't think he had enough season for a world title shot. He was like number 7th in the IBF rankings. They didn't have a number 1 and number 2. Number 3 was Brown. Obviously, he's taking on Kovalev this summer on HBO. And a couple, Yerman Berman, and a couple other guys I never heard of. In the middle of that was Anthony Yarde. And obviously, they haven't even brought Anthony Yarde over to the States yet. This would have been an opportunity to face Artur Beterbiev, but guess what? Beterbiev don't bring no money to the table. So, Yarde, wasn't going to make a lot of money. It was a world title IBF, okay. But it wasn't going to be a lot of money involved. The risk, greatly outweighed the reward. And like I told you guys, I think he needs another developmental year. I said that last year. He needs another developmental year and continue to step up nice and surely. But I think it's time to step up and find some solid guys out there for him this year. I think he should fight 3 more times this year versus solid competition. And then the last fight in December versus, strong guy, the last, the third fight, a strong guy to see that if he's ready to step up for a world title in 2019. If he ain't ready, then take his time. There's no rush. Because, they got to make sure they got the right team and support around Anthony Yarde. And I'm not 100% sure about that. I'm not saying that I question it, but I'm not 100% sure if they got the right people around him, training them, coaching them, giving them advice. I think he should come over to America and get better sparring. He needs to relocate to Las Vegas and start to make his mark here this year, in my opinion. And I know the UK fans won't understand what I'm saying, but the sparring is much better in America, especially at 175. And if he goes in versus Artur Beterbiev right now, I think it's gonna be murder she wrote. But I think he has an opportunity to beat him as constructed right now. Yarde is very, very athletic. He can punch as well. Beterbiev can punch. I think he's a better athlete and probably got better punching power than Beterbiev. But Beterbiev has better overall experience, amateur pedigree, and better skill. If Yarde was to beat Beterbiev, it's just going to be strictly on hustle and strictly on raw ability and physical ability. But I don't see that happening, but it could because Beterbiev is so inactive. He's so inactive, and on a pro level, he hasn't been pushed. He hasn't been tested. And neither has Anthony Yarde. As many questions as it is about Yarde, it should be questions about Beterbiev. Just because he got a world title, it wasn't in versus a strong opponent. He really hasn't had the opportunity to face that opponent that can really push Beterbiev. He's fought all about the same competition about Anthony Yarde has right now. But just probably a step or 2 above that. But, just as many questions about Yarde, it's about, Beterbiev. But we know Beterbiev, he passes the eye test. He's smooth. He got good punching power, good combinations. But in that last fight, he left something to be desired. But I think it was a smart move for Frank Warren to pass on the opportunity versus Anthony Yarde. Like I said, I think he needs another developmental year, on a higher level this time. And better fighters, better contenders. And then next year in 2019, be ready for championship. We're going.